Hello everyone, the December Review here. Today I'm going to talk about the lovely film Midsommar, directed by Ari Aster and starring Florence Pugh and Jack Rayner. This is the second film from Ari following the very unsettling Hereditary. If anyone knows Ari personally, please go check on him to see if he's okay, because he has presented us with two of the most disturbing films I have seen in some time. I'll get to Hereditary in another review, I think. It's not a lot of fun thinking about some of the scenes there, and the same can be said for Midsommar. There will be some spoilers brought up, so proceed with caution if you haven't seen this film. The movie opens up with our main leads, Danny and Christian, seemingly on relationship autopilot after 4 years together. Danny is the needy one who is frantically trying to get in touch with her sister, while Christian is contemplating ending things. You can see early on the two trying to hold things together as Danny is afraid to make a mistake that will give Christian the way out he is looking for. Struggling between needing space and being together, the film shifts quickly as Danny's sister commits a horrific murder/suicide, killing herself and her parents. This obviously shatters their world, and as they try to put the pieces back together, they decide to take a trip with some friends to Sweden for the Midsommar festival, which only occurs every 90 years. Good times and happy things are not on the menu for this group. That's the bare bones of the setup and basic outline for the film. Once in Sweden, things get graphic, things get tense, and things get really fucked up. It's essentially one big drug trip as the group shrooms away as the bright Sweden sky never seems to disappear. The direction here is top-notch. Ari brings an abundance of talent, setting up scene after scene which are incredibly detailed and focused. Things play along in the background which are beautifully choreographed, along with the far-reaching backdrop of this commune we find ourselves in. It's almost like a dance with the multiple members of the cult seemingly friendly, but with tension brimming just under the surface. As our leads trip out and explore the area, we as the audience are along for the ride, mostly feeling what they are as the camera lingers, dripping with hallucinogenic touch-ups.
Can you feel that? The energy coming up from the earth?
The acting is mostly on point, however I felt it did hit overacting a bit too much in the beginning. It serves the story well towards the end as things get more and more out of hand, but as we are placed into these people's lives at the start, it stands out more. Add in the fact that this is a long film with long stretches of inactivity, or so I thought originally. I was a bit lukewarm with the film right after viewing it, but in the few days that have passed since, I have found myself more forgiving of some of its minor flaws and can appreciate the more far-reaching and thought-provoking setup that the movie was going for. Yes, it does have a big running time, but Ari doesn't have many wasted moments. There is almost something in every scene on the commune that either hints at things to come or works to break down your psyche little by little, much like our group of friends. There is one big scene in the middle which gives us in no flinching terms the self-sacrifice of two of the cult members. Remember that whole thing about every 90 years festival? Well, you don't want to be a newbie anywhere near this place when that special moment arrives. This is where the film can make it or break it, no pun intended, for the audience. Assuming the graphic nature on which these two people go out isn't enough to scare you off, the reaction by our outsider friends is where the film's intentions start to split. There are two in the group who are horrified and want to get the hell out of there. This reaction would have been mine as well. The rest seemingly try to accept it for what it means to the religion of the land they are on. Obviously, if everyone left, it wouldn't be much of a movie, but it does force you to believe in why anyone would stay after that. The reasons are well enough and bridges the gap to the next phase of the film. Our group starts to disappear one by one as the cult unveils more traditions and spiked drinks. Christian's character takes a turn as the bad guy a bit more as he decides to steal his friend's idea of doing his thesis about the commune. He is also being eyed by a young woman of the cult. Meanwhile, Danny is getting indoctrinated into the ways of the land, which sets up a mind-bending, drug-fueled competition for the May Queen, which she promptly wins. These two scenarios set up the film's final arc as a completely tripped out Christian gets set up with the woman as Danny loses her shit when she walks in on it. The result is a deeply disturbing finale that will stay with you for days after you've seen the film, assuming you buy into the story and can hang for its monumental runtime. The ending goes full berserk mode. It's insanity at its finest under the brightly lit sun and skies. The character arc is interesting. Ari is on record as saying that this is basically a breakup film. Well, it is, and it could be the most unique way of getting that point across that I've seen. Christian is introduced to us as slightly negative energy. He does turn on his own eventually, but he ends up being set up for what would be his final misgiving. It seems under the circumstances his fate was inevitable, as the cult were pulling the strings to have his baby-making encounter happen regardless of his wishes. For Danny, she shows up as someone without a family, a lost soul trying to hang on to the only somewhat solid ground she has left. She is a prime candidate to be dosed and taken under the cult's wing. Again, as with Christian, it was no accident that she won the May Queen, thereby controlling the fate of everyone's future. The cult has survived for generations. Our heroes never had a chance. My initial thought while watching this was it reminded me of the first Hostel film, in which strangers in a strange land have bad things happen. Well, I guess in that regard it's true, but I couldn't have been more wrong in that comparison. While Eli Roth's film took the setup and turned it into a torture and slasher series, Midsommar is reaching for far, far greater heights. I was oftentimes reminded of Kubrick, Hitchcock, and a bit of the Twilight Zone, especially during the second half. It was just flourishes here and there, though. Ari has his own vision and attention to detail, but has obviously learned from those directors. So overall, Midsommar delivers on its exceptional directing and cinematography. You won't find many films that look better than this. The story takes one or two detours as our leads are manipulated into the outcome, but it's so well crafted that by the end of it all, it won't matter. The finale of the movie is intense and disturbing. It's thought-provoking and will linger, which is a true sign that the movie works. Love it or hate it, it will leave you thinking about it. I give Midsommar 9 out of 10 stars.
What's that?
That's not for us. I think you should not.